plan to be there. Yeah, I'm really excited for that. Thankfully I had the opportunity in 2017 to represent my country, and it's just a different feeling. I'm just really, really, excited to be a part of it.
Tommy, what emotions will that stir in you playing the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, I mean, same kind of thing. I haven't really gotten to the chance to represent my Korean heritage before, and to get to be the first Korean American player to play for that national team is a very special honor, and really looking forward to it. Like I was saying, it's going to be a lot of travel during spring, but all the guys who I've spoken to have played in the World Baseball Classic said that it's one of the best experiences they've had. So I'm very excited.
This is for anyone, for any of you guys. How important is to have the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great for the sport globally to see the players and representing their country, different platforms, different parts of the world. Tommy's going to be playing over in Korea and Japan, hopefully, if they make it that far. And I'm able to play in a couple big league stadiums during springtime. Alongside playing against Mexico, Colombia, U.S. obviously has a great shot to win it, and it's really incredible.
You have the chance to face Giovanni Gallegos playing against Mexico. Are you prepared?
Yeah, I'm going to be prepared for sure. I mean, Giovanni's a great pitcher, and I'm sure he'll be at the back end of Mexico, and we'll see when we get there.
How does preparing for that change your all schedule? Do you start things earlier, particularly you, Tommy, because things are going to kind of get going a little bit earlier? Do you guys start earlier, start hitting earlier, start doing all the baseball activity earlier?
Yeah, I started hitting a little bit earlier this offseason. Partly because of the World Baseball Classic and partly because I just wanted to get going again earlier. And I think in terms of like the timing of it, I think the games don't start till like the 7th or 8th of March, which is when we normally would be 2 weeks into spring training anyways. So by that point, I feel like we're pretty geared up for live pitching and have seen a lot of pitches at that point anyways. So it doesn't change the timing too much, but I mean, maybe just slightly, maybe a week or something like that, shifted forward.
Tyler, can you describe just the mindset of like planting the flag and establishing like I am the St. Louis Cardinals left fielder?
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's where I want to be, right? Like I want to be on the field for these guys. I want to help them win ball games. I can't do it from left bench, and I've been proactive as much as I could in my training this off season. I'm sure, as you all know, I've spent the majority of it here in St. Louis working with the staff, and we've really just taken it to a whole new level. I have a lot more dynamic to my workouts. My warm-ups are much more intensive. Just like Tommy, I started my hitting and throwing programs much earlier this year in preparation for the international contest. I really believe in what I'm doing again. I'm not getting away from what makes me me, which is the heavy lifting and the powerlifting background. I want to stick to my roots in that regard, of course. But as we move on in our careers, we have to make adjustments, and it's definitely time for me to do some things. And I've done my due diligence.
Tyler, when we talked to Mo earlier this morning, he mentioned how big of a role that he hopes you'll play for this club. How important was it for you to lock up your arbitration and stuff before going to a trial and to avoid that process this year?
Yeah, it honestly feels just like a weight lifted off my back. Last year with the lockout and the proceedings leading into the season, it was a lot on me mentally. I had lost a bit of sleep over it, and it was definitely an experience. And I think on both sides it's something we wanted to avoid this year. And I'm just so thankful that we could come to an agreement, and there's give and take on both sides, and we were able to figure it out. And what's important to me now is building a strong relationship with the Cardinals, and I really like where we're at.
Tommy, how much does your all-season defensive work change now in a world with no shift?
Yeah, honestly, it hasn't changed too much, just because any given year there's a chance I would go play shortstop at some point. So obviously the throw's a little bit longer at short, so I always make sure that I'm able to make that throw from deep in the hole and short regardless of what position I'm playing. But like this off season, I've kind of approached it like I have in the past few off seasons, in terms of my arm care, making sure I'm keeping up with my arm care in the off season, and making sure I'm getting good carry on the balls. And then now that I'm playing entirely on the left side of the infield, now that there's no shift, I can kind of focus more on those specific angles rather than having to work on both sides of the bag. So honestly, it's kind of simplified it a little bit. I'll be going down to Florida kind of towards the end of January with the World Baseball Classic coming up. So I'll be able to really hammer in my my ground balls and getting all those reps once I get down there.
In terms of stolen bases, how much can that help inject more steals, more activity into the game? Both you guys are guys who run. How nice will it be to see more movement in the game as far as stolen bases?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the strategies that come up. I haven't given too much thought or discussed it too much with our analytical staff, I guess. But yeah, I think that'll be a big point of discussion during spring training about potentially being more aggressive early in the counts with regards to running. And I think you will see stolen bases spike up a little bit. But I'm sure we will have some strategies that we kind of work on throughout the spring and towards the beginning of the year, just as we see how other teams approach the new rules as well.
As both of you, the guys who run a lot, how much does the size of the base matter? Like you get 4 inches off of the base path, how much change does that make?
Yeah, I mean, how many times have you been thrown out by a couple inches, right? There's bags to be had there for sure.
And I think having have a little bit bigger lead too. So both sides, getting into the base and also getting a bigger lead.
Does it change even simple stuff like your path hitting first, like going first to second? Does that stuff have to change, like your stride path, any of that?
I don't know necessarily. I think we'll see once. I don't know. I haven't used the bigger base yet, so we'll see once we start running. But I can't imagine it'll change too much. Yeah.
How many times have you tagged somebody out by an inch?
Yeah,
You've
seriously.
played a lot of middle infield.
Yeah.
How many times have you?
All those replays that we've had, it'll definitely alter the at least a few plays over the course of a season.
Tommy, it was a significant offseason for shortstops that were on the market, and Mo made it clear very early on that you were the guy that was going to be there for the Cardinals. How much confidence did that give you that you knew that was going to be your position and you were going to be here doing that next year?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I kind of proved that at the when I got to play short last year, that I got to be that was one of the top defensive shortstops in the league, even after moving from second and playing mostly second the previous few years. So it was definitely rewarding to hear Mo recognize that and recognize me as the starting shortstop for this next year. Even like you were saying, with all the big names that were out there, for him to have that confidence in me was very nice to hear.
Have you been able to talk with Wilson Contreras at all?
No, not really. I think he'll be down in Florida a little bit early as well, so hopefully I'll get to connect with him down there.
Tyler, when you've gone, obviously as somebody who's hyper aware of your body composition, what are the things that they've wanted you to change this winter in your work here, and how have you sort of seen that manifest?
Well, it's good to have eyes on me the entire off season, just for, just to get some suggestions on what I could involve, specifically for like warm-up activities. If I was going to do some heavy legs, just do a lot more hip mobility, hip opening stuff, doing shoulder maintenance nearly every day. Won't be such during the season, but I can kind of wear it out now a little bit and get myself into a good spot physically. But we've incorporated a lot of plyometrics this year, so my legs feel ready to bound. Running programs started a lot earlier. Throwing program, hitting program, same. I've never been this accelerated, I guess, in an off season so far. So I'm just feeling really good where I'm at.
Tommy, for you, we all know last spring you were working on things at the plate and trying to kind of open things up a little bit, and get more in the air. Was this offseason a continuation of that from both sides of the plate, or were there things that you maybe focused on?
Yeah, I'm always tinkering. That's the thing with hitting, is that you're always chasing perfection. You're never going to get it. So it's just about making those incremental improvements as you chase it. And there's times where your swing feels great and times where your swing doesn't feel quite as good. So for me, I feel like each year I'm learning more and more about my swing. And I do feel that there were some things that I identified at the end of this past season that I really needed to correct. And I've tailored pretty much all my hitting work this offseason towards trying to correct those things. And it's all kind of about path and making sure I'm staying in a strong position, landing in a strong position, and giving myself a chance before the swing even starts. So a lot of it has just been repetition with that kind of thing. And by working on that, I think I've identified some things, some drills that I can continue to do throughout the season that will help me correct me once I start to feel not so good.
I'm going to take a leap here. I mean, a lot of the work you did in spring was to kind of get the ball in the air because that's where damage was, that's where hits were.
Mm-hmm.
With no shift, now there might be more hits on the ground. Does that factor in at all?
No, not necessarily. I don't think I really like to think about. I don't like to think about the angle, like trying to hit it at a certain angle off the bat. I more like to think about kind of the process of it. And I think the shorter your swing is, the easier it is to catch it out front, which allows you to hit the ball in the air. It's not trying to get long in the back to try to lift it. So a lot of it is kind of just being shorter with my approach to the ball. And a lot of that is just like staying taller and staying stronger with the backside, especially for my lefty swing, because I'm right-hand dominant, that the left side kind of tends to collapse. So working on staying a little bit taller with that and being shorter to the ball. So I haven't necessarily tailored it towards what the new rules with the shift are, just kind of general mechanical tweaks.
Question for the both of you. How excited are you for Turner Ward to take over as hitting coach? And if you've had any contact with him, what are some of the differences and philosophies that you think he's going to instill for a team approach?
Yeah, well, what I learned about Turner last year is, he's played the game before. Obviously, he's spent time in the major leagues, and he understands like the hitter's approach and just different. There's different situations and different thought process you have to go up there at the plate in regards to depending on the game situation or the pitcher on the mound and things. So he's very knowledgeable in that aspect, and he's going to be really good for us.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think what separates him is his ability to kind of help us with our approach towards specific pitchers and tailoring it, and not only pregame but also talking amongst one another during the game to see how a pitcher is throwing us on a specific day. And I felt like he was really good with that this past year, and I'm sure we'll continue to work on that in spring and just how we're going to communicate with each other in the dugout and things like that. And I did he came out to LA or Orange County a couple weeks ago out to Nolan's warehouse, and I got to hit with him a little bit there, and myself and a few other guys. So it was cool to get to work with him for a couple of days of hitting in the off season.
Tyler, similar to the question with Tommy, with your swing, how's it feeling now in January 2023? And did the injuries last year affect it, I presume?
Yeah, just last year it kind of felt like I was getting my feet under me, and then something happened, and then happened again. So it's of course I've been working on the physical aspect first and foremost to be able to stay in the field and getting my legs ready for 160 games. In terms of my swing, I've just really been working on staying inside the baseball, and being in balanced position, staying back, being in a good position with my lower half. I don't like to get too mechanical and too technical in that regard. I'm more of a feel player, and I like to be in a good spot feel wise. I've done a lot of good work this year. I've been hitting with Jim Evans a little bit in my stay out here, and he's very knowledgeable. Obviously he had such great success here and elsewhere, and it's been a really good experience for me to work out at his place. And we bounced some good ideas off each other, and had a lot of good work. So I'm excited.
Real quick, did you go to Jim Edman's home for the batting cage?
Yeah.
Somewhere else?
Yeah, he's got his place out here, and he's beautiful house, and he's got a nice batting cage down there, and most importantly, I've been able to work with him, and he's been able to share some knowledge with me, and it's been great.
What about knowledge of being a new father? Have you shared anything?
I mean, yeah, I'm just so overjoyed with how the last week has gone, honestly. What a change. It's just so crazy, that entire experience. My wife Stephanie handled pregnancy and birth like a champ. It was amazing to watch, very inspiring, and I'm just loving being a dad right now. It's honestly tough to describe, all the fuzzies and the warm and cozies feels that I get, and yeah, I just love that little girl very much, and I'm enjoying it. I'm just gonna keep enjoying it.
That strength showed up.
I am feeling strong in the weight room right now. Like I said, my training's just taken off this year, and I'm just so happy to be able to use my resources here in St. Louis and propel myself forward to that spot that I needed to be. And again, I really believe in what I'm doing right now. The workouts have taken a whole new dynamic. They're longer and more intense than ever before. And again, I believe in it, and it's great.
Well, it's kind of cliche, having a new baby at home, but can that maybe help you handle the highs and lows, and you're coming home to a young baby? Does that kind of put things in perspective better?
Yeah, I really feel like when I look at that little girl, I'm like neutralized. It's like just time slows down around her, and when I have her in my arms, it's just incredible. Just an incredible feeling. I love it. Honestly, I'm having such a great time being a dad. It's only been 5 days right now. I'm one of those parents that counts every day, right? So far. Yeah, right. No, it's great. I'm loving being a dad.
Tommy, you mentioned going out to Nolan's warehouse. It seems like a lot of guys go out to those hitting labs during the off season, maybe change bats, stuff like that. Is there anything for the two of you that you've done this off season in that regard?
No, I haven't. I know a few guys went out to that the Marucci lab down in Baton Rouge. I haven't gotten the chance to do that yet, but it was fun going up to Nolan's warehouse. His isn't like the high tech with all the KVS and all the mechanical tools, but it was fun to get a chance to check it out, and he's got a great setup there, and it was fun to get up there.
Were you there to watch Newt try to plug in the Repsodo?
No, I wasn't.
Kind of a challenge.
I think that might have been the day after I was up there, but yeah, I heard about that. I'm sure it was an adventure.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Tyler, this year Mo talked about how he likes the roster. It's just about players meeting those expectations. Coming off of the frustrating year you had last year with injuries, do you feel like this is a prove-it year for you? Do you feel like you're going out there and you're just going to play your game?
Yeah, I'm going to play my game, honestly. I know I'm able to succeed at this level, and I want to help these guys succeed as much as I can. And again, I can't do that on the bench. And again, it's just about being proactive in my methods during the off season to prepare my body in the right way to be able to be ready for 160 games. And I feel like I'm in a really good spot right now physically. I just fully believe in, again, what I'm doing, and I'm really excited to get going and put it into play.
Tommy, I was just going to circle back to the World Baseball Classic. I just wanted to know, did you talk to your mom about representing Korea and what that meant to her, and have you worked on your Korean a little bit more too?
I started the Duolingo Korean just to get used to all the consonants and the vowels, because it's a little bit different. I don't know how well or how good my Korean is gonna get over the next month, because it's a tough language to learn. But yeah, my family's all very excited. I don't think my mom's been back to Korea since she was a kid, so she'll get to go. My sister will get to go to Korea, and then her mom, so my grandma, will get to go back to Korea, and that'll be a fun experience for them. And then my wife has the Japanese side in her, so it's kind of funny to have that little rivalry. But she'll be going to Japan, and her parents will get to make a trip out of it as well. So we'll have a lot of family out there in Asia with us, and it's going to be a really fun experience. And I know the families are very excited as well.
Will she be cheering on Newbar a little bit?
Yeah, I hope not. I hope she sticks with her husband. But.
Yeah.
Have you connected with KK yet? Have you all talked at all?
No, I haven't talked to KK yet. I do want to get in touch with him, because he was such a good teammate, and he was so funny. I'm sure we will as it gets closer. But yeah, hopefully he can teach me a few Korean words. I've very briefly looked at the Korean words for the basic baseball terms, and I don't know if I've committed them to memory yet, but I'll be working on that the next few weeks or so.
It's my Spanish. So.
Yeah.